I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me permission to tell stories. I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me permission to do what I want to do. So it's like,
put that on repeat.
Yeah. If I don't get, I don't get staffed. I don't get handed $1 million to make a movie. Well, okay, no big deal. We're going to make our show. We're going to make our movies. We're going to tell our stories. We're going to figure it out.
The people you worked with on your crew could easily be working on any crew.
But the thing is that like people who are out there doing the work, they're not talking about the work because they're doing the work. Like,
I agree.
Too busy doing it to sit around and talk about it. So that's what I've noticed, that like, and I'm not throwing anybody out. I'm not like, throwing anybody the best name of names. But it's like the people out there who are like, look at me, look what I'm doing. Like me, are typically the people who aren't actually like, they're not building community. They're not creating jobs. They're not creating work for people here who want it. They're putting on a front for attention. And it's like it only gets you so far. People are going to screw it.
Feel free to roll whenever. I've got time lapses going in the back and in the front, and I'm doing all kinds of fun stuff. You feel good about it, how everything looks?
Right.
I appreciate you. Matt is a genius. I got so lucky. His wife was doing an event at the Luli Creative House.
Oh, sure.
And I was doing some content for them. I was working on some stuff and making a little I don't know, short little doc or whatever, just kind of showing some of their events. And he shows up with his wife and helping her set up for her thing. And man, he started talking. He goes, I love your setup. Oh, that's the FX3. So I was like, how do you know all these? Like, you must know what you're doing. And he's like, yeah, I actually have that camera, and this is what I do, and this is what I do full time. And I'm like, we need to hang out. And since then, we've been fast friends, and we've worked together on quite a few projects.
It's one of the amazing things about I think the city is that there are so many people who are doing really cool creative things, but unless you have that sort of that happenstance moment, you may not know.
100%. And I've met so many people through him.
Yeah.
And I think he's met some people through me. And when I told him that I was doing this, I was like, I'm working on a small budget. Would you want to, I pay him a little bit, every time, he comes. But he takes, a couple hours out of his day, helps me set up. I've been here since 10 setting up. He got here like 11:15. But the fact that like he had a shoot this morning. So I just am overwhelmed by the amount of people since I've been doing this, the amount of people that have, really been receptive to it. And I'm just like, I'm really humbled that you guys would want to take your time out too, because I know you guys are really busy. You're world travelers, and you guys have been in some big rooms and done some big things. I'll just start out. You know me, I'm Chad. It's been a long time. Jeff and I did a podcast years ago with on another person's podcast, and was really interesting. Actually, he wanted to have you back, and I think with the timing just was great, and then COVID was brutal and changed the world, and we never got to it. And then when I started this, I was like, you were one of the first people I thought of, but I was like, let me get a few under my belt before I had you guys on, because because I don't want to start off with I don't want to start off at the dud and have but when I reached out to you, I thought, is it inappropriate for me to be like, hey, do you want to have Jeff on too? And because we don't know each other that well, and we only really know each other through that one time, I just thought everything you're doing, like, with your work in the film industry and with the festivals and putting your stuff out and putting yourself out there to do it, it's extremely inspiring. And like, I want to copy some of what you're doing, but I thought to myself, why not have her on the show and ask her some questions. So
and we do so much together. We have so many projects that we do together that, like,
this is a perfect pairing.
It's a perfect pairing. Yeah.
So Christine, tell me what you've been working on, how it all got started. Give me a little background. Go for it.
Yeah. Gosh,
You're from here originally.
I'm from Omaha originally. Yeah. I've spent my professional life doing all manner of creative endeavors, web design and graphic design and photography and journalism, and I just at one point was like, you know what, I want to go back to school. I want to get a bachelor's degree. I randomly picked creative writing. I don't know why. I thought, well, there's got to be something there. I listened to my intuition.
There you go.
So I studied creative nonfiction writing. I took some screenwriting electives, and then I was like, oh, screenwriting, there it is. That's the thing. And so I've gone on to get a master's degree. I'm working to develop a screenwriting course for the university. I've had screenplays in festivals. Jeff and I have had screenplays we've written together in festivals. I've had films in festivals. I wrote a feature film that was produced here locally. So I've had some really great success. I think like any successful artist, like the success doesn't feel good enough yet. Like I know there's more. So yeah, I'm just trying to get to the more stage.
If I can say,
please,
your feature that you wrote is on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
And,
it is on Amazon Prime and Tubi.
Yeah, and your focus in your MFA was on TV writing, and
yes.
you were in striking distance in Hollywood, and then
I guess I glossed over some things.
Well, yeah, I mean they're coming out of the pandemic, and things are starting to open up again, and you are having meetings with some pretty big studios, and then the writer's strike.
I had an opportunity. I was very close to a staff writing opportunity in LA with like a big name that I will not name drop, but the writer's strike kind of zapped it and it went away. And so now I'm trying to find inroads. I'm applying, like I want to write. I want to be a staff writer. I want to be a film writer, but I'm also applying to WGA support staff training programs. Like if I can get a job as a writer's assistant in a writer's room, like I'll take it. If it's going to get me in the door, I'll take it. Like I'm humble enough to start at the very bottom. Like
writing to me is so humbling. I've tried a million times and I just can't. I get like 6 pages in. I'm like, okay, I know this character.
Yeah.
But then you've got 6 or 7 other characters that you're trying to work. And it's like, tough. I don't know their voice. It is daunting. It is brutal. And a lot of second guessing. And I constantly am like, no, this isn't what this person would say. But how do you know? And I'm fighting myself. And I'm so impressed with like the ability to, I mean, just anybody that does it and does it well. And that was another reason, I called this a creative block because I know, right, we all have these blocks. And I know writer's block is the thing that everybody knows about, whether you're writing a novel or a screenplay. You always go through that block. It's like, what's my next thing? For me, it's more of, what's my next idea? Because some of my ideas don't necessarily need writing. They need, where I find my greatest source of creativity is when I just I have this idea. Okay, let me just go and then see what happens. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, but I got to have that sort of. That
impetus.
Exactly. Yep. I've got to have that first idea, and that with a writer, you have to have it all. You have to have the idea, and then you've got to.
It's hard. It's hard to. There's that initial spark, and then it is hard to keep going. It is hard to take the spark and develop it into a full. Like I have notebooks full of like characters, lines of dialogue, scenarios, log lines, just like little bits of stuff. And sometimes the little bit stays there for 5 years, 10 years, like, it may never turn into anything.
It's amazing when you find out some of your favorite films took all this time to actually get made because it was mostly the writing process. It was the development of it. Yeah. They have these, and then you sit there and you get these actors in mind that you want to do it, but things change and you got to recast because the age. It's wild. Like thinking about that movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, years in between them, from the first part of it to the beach. It's just like
it's amazing that anything gets done, or that bands stay together, or that anything that anything happens. So back to your thing about you're writing your 6 pages in. I mean, one of the things that I have found, and then I think you have found, is that you still show up, and every single day, and if you can at the same time, but you show up, and eventually your muse will say, oh, start taking you seriously. So like I have done this. I will show up and I have nothing, and I have that writer's block, whether it's with a cartoon or with writing a song or writing a book or something or a screenplay. I've got nothing, and I hate it. The process is painful, and I force myself to do something to just get, to the physicality of it, to literally start clacking crap on the keyboard or to just start doodling nothing with my opposite dominant hand or whatever it is. And you do find that for me, the more you just keep showing up and doing that, eventually something's going to happen. Eventually your own brain is going to tell you, okay, we're tired of all this crap. Let's actually start forming a sentence.
Right.
You know, and I really do believe that to be true, that your muse eventually will say, okay, all right, he means business.
Because there's a lot of anxiety that you kind of have, right?
Yeah.
To do it. And then if you get all that crap out of the way,
yeah,
and you sort of tire yourself out in a sense,
That's
or
good. Yeah,
kind of
you're
run
right.
that inner child, into the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, like you said, your muse will come out. I found that to be very true for me. It's instead of, like you said, showing up and click, clack, I'll play a video game. And then pretty soon 3 hours has gone by. Something else will stimulate, because I'm trying to be sort of, my ADD will get, and then boom, I'll be in this game and I'll get, instead of, like you said,
Right.
showing up, doing the click clacky,
Right.
erase, and then eventually it's like, oh, okay, I'm back.
But see, that video game too can be part of the process. So like, I mean, I don't want to speak for Christine, but for me, it's this weird balance of pushing through the click clacky crap, whatever, but also at some point walking away and doing nothing and going to get a cup of coffee, because your brain, just like when you're playing video games, your brain is still working on your behalf. Your subconscious is, and those are those light bulb moments we have in the shower, or the cliche, whatever, the light bulb goes off, middle of the night. But your own brain has been problem solving for you. So your brain is, and you kind of work that into your process.
Yeah. Very good point.
But it's hard to know. You have to show up and do the work to be able to then allow yourself that 15-minute walk or
I'm
whatever.
afraid of the 15-minute walk, because I'm afraid I'm going to get to the 15-minute walk. ADD is going to take over, and it's going to turn into it's going to be an hour and 15.
Now you're in Iowa.
We love Iowa.
How'd you know?
Maybe that's where the ideas are.
No. But I think like you both you make really good points that where when you just said you got to show up.
Yeah.
That's what this is for me is I'm showing up for myself, because when I go put this together and I put the 3 cameras together and I put this together, I'm creatively thinking of the best ways to kind of use that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come up with other ideas for either the next time or even throughout the process of this episode. And it's like, I'll watch these back and I'll be like, oh, did they really say that? I wasn't listening because I was thinking of the next question or whatever it was, And so it's so valuable to be able to have these conversations with such thoughtful people. And so, Jeff, I want to get into a little bit about, you talked about cartoons. Now, I that's actually how I know you mostly. And I don't want to, you probably have a different perspective on this. You definitely have a different perspective. But from where I was, that's how I knew you were like this famous. You were famous in Omaha. I mean, extremely famous for being.
He still is.
Yeah, and
everywhere we go.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Everybody knows who he is.
And I bet people even in France. We'll talk about that too, because I know you love that place. But just I can see your signature now. It's so artistic. Just the way you sign your art is really cool. Tell me about how you got started in that. You grew up in Omaha, correct?
Yep, South O kid.
Tell me about that, and then tell me how you got into cartooning, and then it led you to where you are now.
Yeah, I knew from a very early age that I wanted to draw cartoons. It was in my heart. I also I knew that I wanted to do other creative things, music and writing and things like that. But I knew as it's my earliest sense of being is that I'm going to be a cartoonist. It's who I am. I didn't know how to get from point A to point L or whatever point I'm at now. And I certainly didn't think it'd be political cartooning. I was more in the, comic strips and Disney kind of thing. But I had a lot of input and inspiration from various places. My uncle, whom I'd never met, was a syndicated columnist, Washington Post, Scripps Howard, for an Omaha guy.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, who went on to D.C. and interviewed John F. Kennedy and knew Marilyn Monroe. He was killed in a plane crash just after I was born, so I never met him. But I heard all these great stories about how he was one of the first journalists to land in the South Pole, how he was covering the Cold War, how he was covering NASA and the space program, which became part of my story because I love the space program and I've had cartoons fly on the space shuttle. But so there was that part of it. And then there were, I certainly grew up in a small house in South Omaha, oldest of 5 kids. My dad was a part-time TV repairman and a musician, and but he was always encouraging me to be unique and to be creative, and I think that's kind of where that sort of took roots. And then just lucky and blessed with wonderful teachers in the Omaha public school system who
it's so underrated.
It is so underrated, and they saw something in me and would hang my cartoons on the bulletin board. I would get beaten up for it, and bullied, and also because I have Tourette's syndrome. And I didn't know I had Tourette's, and I was always kind of twitchy. But there were teachers who saw something in me and helped me develop that, and I think that's kind of where it took root.
I mean, it says something about this area that you can. All of these obstacles and the system can be broken and things like that, but somebody can see something in somebody and they not give up on them. And then for you to be able to embrace that as well.
100% embracing. I'm a big believer in, we talk about this a lot, embracing our obstacles and whatever that is. We have our own inner stuff, our insecurities, other things we've grown up with, and things that can be really challenging and painful. But I do think, and I'm not trying to simplify this in any way or minimize it, but I do think that if we can in some way embrace those obstacles or acknowledge them and try to move through them, we can kind of, for lack of a better term, use the cliche, turn it into our superpower. But that can fuel our creativity, whether it's anger, compassion, frustration, whatever that is, and allow that to come out into the work and in your daily life and your interactions. 100%. Right. And maybe it becomes part of your why. Maybe you're not actually writing a memoir, or you're maybe not writing your childhood self in your screenplay, but somehow those experiences are likely informing your writing 100%. Decisions and your creativity. 100%. So
and if you don't embrace that, you'll miss it. You'll skip over it, and you'll either compress it and it won't.
And readers and viewers, consumers of creativity who are sensitive, can pick up on stuff that isn't authentic, and authenticity 100%. Is so important.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think when I miss your World Herald work. And I don't know if that's something we can actually talk about. If there's NDAs or anything like that.
No,
I'm sure, but just
I'm still drawing. And
tell me about that.
It's 5 years ago that they eliminated my job, and I was one of maybe only 20-something full-time newspaper cartoonists left in America. I really thought I'd be the last cartoonist standing. But actually, they did me a favor. It hurt, and I wasn't allowed to say thank you or goodbye to my readers. And so to this day, recently, I've had people say, "Well, where'd you go?"
Right.
So, but I'm still drawing with support on Patreon and Substack for syndication, which puts my cartoons out into the world, and to your point, in France as well. Just not in my hometown newspaper, but it liberated me. It allowed me to be freer to draw.
One of those obstacles you had to embrace.
It 100%, and it has allowed me to draw cartoons that I never would have, frankly, been allowed to draw before, and it's allowed me to pursue other creative things. It's allowed me to pursue a career in radio, in classical music, which I'm doing. I took over for Otis 12 when he retired at KVNO. And it's a joyful job, and to do other things, to develop my French and everything else. So it was really a blessing in disguise that I didn't see at the time, of course.
But. Yeah, I was so surprised how it happened, that you're just gone. I think I may have learned about it through social media, I believe. And it was like, you were such a huge deal. I think one of the biggest, most popular things about the World Herald were some of your cartoons.
Oh, thanks.
And I feel like that was probably one of the only things that I was really looking forward to in the World Herald. I'm not going to lie, because I found it interesting. Obviously, politics has changed so much, and being that you were doing a lot of political cartoons, I think that you would probably get you were probably getting a lot of hate mail as well, which is unfortunate. Which has kind of led us to what happened, last week, which is people just speaking their mind, and it's unfortunate that it's got to go so dark. And not that we have to talk about that, because that's not the purpose, but I think that there was so much more light, and I think by cutting that off, taking that away, I think is more detrimental, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think that it's important to be able to have hard conversations in a light way.
Yeah.
I think.
But it's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere, unfortunately.
So, yeah.
And I think, Christine, with your work, finding your voice and doing what you do, is it hard? Do you feel stifled to be able to say what you want to say? Is it scary to write scripts if there's, with serious matters? I think for me, I get a little bit insecure about what I can and can't say, even in this, because how people are going to react to the way that I feel about something, which is ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. These are my feelings. Do you feel stifled with some of the things that some of the subject matters that you cover in your projects?
No, I don't. I don't. I think that excuse me. Some of the stuff I cover or that I like to write about, it's more about women, things that are happening to women, things that women have dealt with, for hundreds and hundreds of years, gaps in our culture, problems with our culture. I take everything with a comedic approach. That's just who I am. I don't go full drama, full serious. It's everything with a bent, a sense of humor to 100%. It. But I don't know. I guess I write politically, but I do it in a way that's
it's not overt.
It's not overt. The project I'm working on right now, it's going through a million rewrites. It's a period piece, colonial American comedy, you know what I mean, with a bunch of women doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. So
living their life.
Having jobs and making money.
Oh, blasphemy.
Asking for healthcare.
What?
Crazy stuff. So no, I don't feel stifled. I also feel as a woman, I have a little bit more space to talk and speak and take control of things right now.
Sure. With as much adversity that women have always faced, right? I think they're doing better now than anybody. Yeah. I think women are doing better now. They're more educated. They're making more money.
There's a lot of really great voices out there.
There's tons of great voices, and they're being listened to and not, completely buried. They're doing it on their own, because the internet allows that to happen, and they've stolen that space. Not stolen it. They've been able to take some of that space, and they're using it to their advantage. There's a lot of. They might not be hosting late night shows, but late night, as we know, is kind of going away but they are making millions on podcasts, and whether it's Amy Poehler or the young lady from Call Her Daddy. I forget her name, but it's impressive. But also a lot of women that I'm coming younger women that I'm coming in contact with, they can't find a mate because these young men are struggling, and it's it's kind of alligator tears. I don't really feel bad because you've kind of put yourself in positions to kind of, I know exactly.
I don't feel bad.
Exactly. No. And I don't either. I wouldn't want to be a young man right now, unless I had the upbringing that I had, because I'm not saying they're forgotten, but I feel like they've been given everything. They've been given everything, and they've kind of
when you don't
Apply your
to work for things.
There you go.
You don't learn
100%.
how to work for things.
Right.
And I think that so many women, I grew up in the 80s. I have an older sister. I actually had this conversation with my parents a couple days ago. I was on set and I found this book, and the title of the book was like How to Raise a Lady. And I took a picture of it and I was just like, well, clearly you guys didn't read this book.
Well, what was the copyright? Like 1953
I have no
or something?
idea. It was ancient. I have no I should have
Colonial times, maybe?
Yeah, I should have taken
Research.
it and like, I don't believe in book burning, but I should have taken it and burned it. This one deserved to be burned. But so I took a picture of it and sent it to my dad. And my dad was like, yeah, I wasn't concerned with raising ladies. I was concerned with raising women who were self-sufficient and could think for themselves and take care of themselves.
Wow.
And I was like,
They did a great job.
damn right, Dad. So like when young men are complaining about how women don't want to date them, it's like, then be if you want
the man, be a good,
then be a man.
be a good guy that
Right.
people want to be
Be a
around.
person
Just
that
be a good
people
human
wanna
being.
spend
Just
time
you know what? Just
with.
be a good
Like,
human
come
being.
on.
Agreed.
Just be a
And
good human
All
being.
these terms, you know, whether it's woke or toxic masculinity, they've been co-opted
Yeah.
and turned and completely twisted. Because
Lots of things have.
oh, I agree. Masculinity is a good thing, and women like masculine. What they don't like is the toxic part of it, because it's so there's so many things that, you know, the mansplaining and things like that. You know, and then you have
Wait, can you explain that to me? I'm kidding.
Exactly. So, you know, I find the most masculine people in my life have been people that have stood up for the little guy or the little gal, or has stood up for the marginalized, who have stood up and been the shield, or been able to. They don't go into the fight; they break the fight up.
Yeah.
It's not. Being masculine isn't about how big your muscles are and how hard you can punch. It's about listening. You know, 2 ears, one mouth for a reason. And like you said, it's like, I don't feel bad. Well, why should you? Because right. I mean, everything in the world has been geared towards, you know, getting men to a place, and everything women have just had to, you know, hang on by the coattails.
Well, like one of my very first jobs, I was in my early 20s. I was working as a graphic designer in an office with two guys. It was a great opportunity. I learned so much. But one of the guys I worked with constantly introduced me as his assistant. And it's like, I am not your assistant.
Yeah.
But like, that was the role I took. And
Right.
when there were meetings, it was like, because I was the woman in the office, I made the coffee.
It's
I
this
answered the door.
reductionist, you got to reduce.
I answered the phone. It was just ridiculous. So like, no, I've worked for over 20 years of my life. Like, I'm not going to play parts. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to be small so somebody feels comfortable around me. Like, sorry, no.
I love
no.
And I feel like when we work on projects together, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's equal. Like, I don't think either of us we don't go into it like, even if it's somebody, if I've come up with a project, I bring it to you, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And then it becomes sort of
an equal collaboration.
I would say it's equal, or it's even more me. I think that like,
well, you're just better at it than I am.
Yeah.
I'm a little, am I bossier? Is that what
No,
it is?
you're the screenwriting. Well, I don't know actually how to know that. Like, we'll like brainstorm ideas.
Sure.
But you come. I love how you'll come in
to articulate it so that it gets to the where you want to help it go.
Yeah.
She's a better driver than you.
Well, and that is
quite
actually true.
literally.
Actually.
Maybe
she drove here for other reasons. Yeah.
So you know where you want to go, but she helps you get there. And I mean,
Yeah, but it becomes our kind of
Yeah.
it's that cliche. What's this parts are bigger than the
Some of
all,
its
or
parts,
whatever
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It becomes its own own thing.
Yeah.
But then even when we're writing male characters, we sort of kind of riff on each other's male-female characters. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm going to write the guy and you're going to write the. You know
I
what
feel
I mean?
like women are so good at writing men, though. They're so good. They're very observant.
I was going to say it's all observation.
What do you think
100%.
about my female characters? You think
You write great female characters.
I wasn't looking for a compliment.
But no, but like going back to this idea of like, masculine, female, or feminine, masculine energy, feminine energy. I think that like good, solid, well-grounded, holistically minded, whole people, they do think from both masculine and feminine places, and they do hold both of those energies within them.
Yeah.
And I think that Jeff is like super in tune with feminine energy. Like he is not, you are not a guy that takes up space that doesn't, deserve the space. You aren't somebody who talks over someone else. Like you are fair and balanced and equal about everything, male, female, non-gendered, other gendered. Like you don't care. You give everybody equal space and equal shots. And so I think that like
that helps you write helps you find those voices.
It helps Jeff come write any voice, any person, because he is warm and he believes in warmth and warm characters, and so that's what he brings to the table.
Wow.
And how do you then, is it the same process for you with men, or are men kind of easier?
No, I think that like for me, when it comes to writing male characters, the feature I wrote, the headliner that was directed and produced by Tony Bonacci. The main character was a man. Character's name was Chad Allen, played by Derek Silkman. And Derek, he loved the character, and he's like, this character is so brash and so sarcastic and kind of like, he's kind of a jerk. He's like, people are surprised that a woman wrote that character. But I think that for me, it was just like, I think I was channeling like who I would be if I didn't have to operate through a filter every day.
Okay. There was a warmth to him.
But Chad Allen was a warm guy. But I think that like if all of the masks came off, I am like I think a much more like brash, in your face person than I allow myself to be. Do you think that's true? You're like, I've seen you behind a
and why do you think you don't break through that? Why? Because you.
I don't know. Maybe it is like conditioning, being a woman in this world, but I also think that it's like I don't know.
It does come through in your writing.
Sure.
So ultimately, what does it mean? You know what I mean?
Right,
like if it's coming through in your writing,
100%,
and that's who you are, it doesn't mean you have to go around being. But
I saw it just in that video I watched. I saw you. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see. Yeah. You have a very good idea who you are.
I do. Yes.
And you don't sugarcoat it, which is great. That's another reason why I wanted to talk to you, because I have trouble sometimes, letting myself be who I want to be and say the things that I want to say, because now we're in kind of a world where, shut up, man. You sound like a dick.
Yeah.
And, and I can come off that way, and I don't mean to, but it's more of like, this is kind of the way that I'm trying to communicate with you, is like, I'm not getting it across.
Mm-hmm. I find myself being extra careful, even in my French group, for example. Mm-hmm. I have a weird obsession for learning French, and it's one of the few things I do in my life. Not to take us off this topic, just briefly, it's one of the few things I do that isn't directly related to earning a living. Honestly,
sure.
I'm kind of still.
We all have to have something like that.
Yeah. And I know how learning a language has changed me, improved me, has helped my brain, and I started this French group when I was learning French 7 years ago. Free weekly French group. I had no idea what French was, basically. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't speak it. And people who spoke French would come and they would speak French to me, and I didn't understand them. And like, why are you doing this? So you're going to help me, and we're going to help others. And it's about kindness and connectivity. Side note, it's now the largest free weekly French groups in America.
Okay.
Anyhow, so
I'll have to look that up.
I know how it changed, how I was so afraid. And so I saw it as one of those obstacles. I'm afraid to speak French. I'm going to start this group. And I meet others who are afraid to speak it. And so when I see that, I have all these crazy hacks and strategies, and I want to help. I want to throw out ideas. And whether, man or woman or whatever, I find myself being kind of hesitant to say, well, here,
sure,
try this, because I don't want it to come off like I'm either a know-it-all and I don't know it all. You know what I mean? So
right.
I find myself kind of like treading carefully.
Stepping back. Yeah, I get it.
Here are some opportunities. So I am even just, trying to figure out how best to present information without it sounding like I am telling people what to do.
Exactly.
I care. I really do.
I can see how
with creativity too.
I struggle with that.
I've got ideas, but
So, the Ted Lasso line, be curious and not judgmental. I try as much as I can. And, you know, I think even after Matt met me the first time to now, you know, he and our relationship is just evolved, and it's only been like 6 months that we've known each other, and we're like fast friends. But he might even be able to attest the fact that, like, you know, I spend more time asking questions, because I found that has led me to, you know, sort of being able to help them as well, you know, to communicate with me as well. Because the more you sort of like, here, do this or do that, it's taking them out of them being able to participate with you and give their, you know. And so it's now, you know, now I tell Matt all the time, I'm like, you know, I'm just going to let you cook, you know, because I always have these, let's set the cameras up here. Let's change this angle. Let's do that. And sometimes I just need to, what do you think? And how can we make this better? And when he says it, I'm usually, let's try it. Let's go. Because the more I hesitate from that, you know, the more I pull away from, no, let's do it my way. You're never going to get it out. And then you're going to lose those people that are in your life. You're going to lose the people that you're
another person is probably going to help make it even better than.
Well, that's what makes good producers.
Yep.
It's like, I want you in this room. I trust you in this room to do what you're here to do.
That's right.
And I believe that you know better than me. And so I'm just going to step back and let you do your job.
And I know that has been hard, you know, for for women to be able to get that trust from people, especially if you've got male producers that will just let you come in and you hired me for this thing. Let me do it. Oh, you're not doing it the way that I'm used to, but that's not why you hired me. You hired me to do it the way that I know how to do it.
And for how good or for how much improvement, like we've seen, you know, especially in like film and television.
Sure.
Like female directors are still underrepresented. Female directors of photography, female cinematographers still underrepresented in film. Female writers. So like, it's progress, but it's like it's not there yet. And so,
right.
You know,
and like, so and we just got to keep at it. And I find myself as a male in this business, I very much am cognizant of it, but I'm also, I want to work. I look to work with more women because I want that perspective. I was raised by a single mother. Not that has anything, that doesn't have to be the thing that made me do it, right? I have a wife and I've got a daughter. That doesn't mean that I'm this, you know, like that. I want to, because I want to be, don't take it the wrong way, but challenged. I feel like it's a challenge to have a female voice come in and tell, you know, not that like that it's better or worse, or that they're, you know, smarter or, you know, it's more of like it's a voice that's not in my head.
You're open to it.
It's a totally new perspective. Yeah,
it has to be.
And a lived experience you don't know anything
about.
Well,
and
exactly.
And not just with, you know, members of the opposite sex, but with people from different cultures.
Yep.
And how important that is. And, you know, that's a whole other thing about traveling, but it builds empathy when you meet other people.
100%.
You know? So
it's so underrated, empathy. It matters.
Everybody needs it. Everybody should say the word empathy and embrace it.
The people that I choose to be around are people that make decisions based on their moral empathy. The things that they choose, do the right thing for the right reasons.
Yes.
Even if politically it's a killer, even if even if it in the moment it hurts financially, if you're doing the right thing for the most amount of people in an empathetic from an empathetic point of view, to me, those are the leaders that I want. Those are the people I want to be around, and I want to surround myself.
Well, we just had this conversation the other day that like we should all be good people for the sake of being good people, not because there's some kind of promise.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so silly.
It's so crazy because you hear stories about, oh, he's such a good father because he's present and all this stuff. I'm like, he's supposed to be.
That's just the bare minimum.
Just the bare minimum. Women are there all the time for that thing, and we don't give them credit. Like, it's so crazy that I don't want to be known as a good, I don't want to be known as a good father by society because I was there.
You showed up.
I just want my child to end up having a good, and then if she tells me one day that you were such a great, then that's all I need in my life, And even if she doesn't tell me, if she sees success in her life, or if she is healthy, or if she's happy, then that little bit that I did, right, was worth it. And I see that in my work. I want that to be in my work too, because I like collaborating with people, and I like having those, those perspectives challenged. And like I said, that's a challenge to let people in that aren't, you're not, surround yourself with a whole lot. If you don't have a whole lot of, women in your life, be around more so that you can understand what it's like to have a conversation with somebody who thinks differently.
How do we change that? It's so
fear. Everything's fear-based, in my opinion. Everything.
That's true.
Fear sells right now.
Yeah.
It's about this. Hang on to what you have because they want your. They want something from you. It's immigrants or women.
And it's that they.
It's that
they. Yeah, it's they.
Yeah.
They want
the thing that gives me.
Yeah.
You referenced Ted Lasso, and it's one of those things that gives me hope because it was such a hugely successful show, and
such a positive
core,
show.
Empathy, the core of that show, and love, kindness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I just. So I do want to talk a little bit about like what you've done in the past and what you're doing recently, because I'm really fascinated by how you get these things funded and done and the people you work with. I know, right? I know. So
funding. What's that?
Tell me about some of the films you've worked on, some of the things you're proud of, and you're proud of all of it. But some of the things that you want to prop up. But then also like some of the people you've worked with, because I know some of it, like Cody Jones, and I've had them on the show and stuff like that. And I find a lot of what the work you're doing right now is inspiring. So tell me a little bit about what you're working on.
Yeah. So let's see. Right now I have a film in festivals, kind of in the middle of a little festival circuit. I'll be in Beverly Hills in a couple weeks, and then in Georgia.
Tell me about the film.
So it's a short film called Bobby Hayden Church, Brother Number 2.
Yep.
It is starring Derek Silkman, who we talked about earlier. He plays Thomas Hayden Church's little brother.
I think it's hilarious.
It's a mockumentary.
So funny.
Trying to break out into the Hollywood acting scene from Omaha, Nebraska. So it kind of just started as this like silly little joke between Derek and I.
Yeah, because he kind of looks like him. Or
he looks like him. He sounds like him.
That's exactly
Yeah, he looks like him. He sounds like him. And
it's
so
hilarious.
it was just like, well, wouldn't it be funny if? And so I wrote this script, and Kate Robertson Pryor, my friend, I asked her if she wanted to act in it. She said yes. Can I also produce on it? I said yes. And so again, like women getting stuff done literally like within a day. Kate was like, well, I have an entire crew. We're ready to go. Like she had Cody on board, Cody Jones to do DIT and color.
He's awesome.
He's amazing. Lauren Abel.
She's great. She's so talented.
She's amazing.
Is she cinematographer?
She was cinematographer, and she was our editor. And she brought on Sam Fu as second camera.
Love those guys.
We had like Cadet Jones.
I was trying to get all of them for this day to get us all in the room. I wanted to get those guys. They're just busy with stuff.
They
could. But if you're listening, please come on.
Yeah. And then I have to say that we had Ian Snyder as our sound. Yeah. And we miss Ian so much. Ian was so incredible. Yeah. So it was the last thing I got to work on Ian with. So
I've worked with him too.
But just like the most amazing crew, the most amazing people. And everybody really, again, it's like all about heart. The project had heart. Everybody connected to it. It's about an artist struggling to be seen, to be heard, to make it to the next step in life. And so I think everybody was just like, yeah, I'm on board.
So it was all shot in Omaha?
It's all shot in Omaha, yeah.
And I know you used some of the Modus building downtown. Did you use some?
We did.
Because I saw some of your behind the scenes.
Coffee shop.
The coffee shop, okay.
The coffee shop and then the back hallway. And we had a cameo from Mr. Alexander Payne.
Yeah, I saw that too.
He walked by, so exterior shots, and then we shot the rest of it over at the Potawatomi Arts Culture Entertainment Center.
Pace
Council Bluffs. And then a friend of ours, Todd Graves, let us use his house to film.
And also the other cameo.
Oh, the other, Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, I saw some of that on social media.
Yeah, Kate got a hold of his, through some connections, got a hold of his manager.
He seems like a really cool guy.
He was the coolest. Yeah, so Kate got him the script, and he just called her up, just like, hey, let's just get down to business, and he's just like, so who is this writer? How did you know all this about me? And Kate's like, what? And he goes, yeah, this is like my real life. I had like a little brother who tried to break into acting. I call him Bobby. He goes, his name's not Bob or Robert, but I call him Bobby. That's like my brother's nickname.
That's crazy.
It was wild. So, Thomas Hayden Church read it, he's like, yeah, this is hilarious. So he agreed to, he had to leave. He was filming Knives Out at this time. So he's like, I can't do anything now, but in a few months when I'm back in the country, reach out to me. And so then we were like, is he just going to blow us off? So we had to wait months to get a hold of him again. And then he was just like, yep, okay, cool. Call me at this time.
That's
we'll record.
So awesome.
It was amazing. So so I don't think Thomas Hayden Church really understood like what was happening until he called us and he talked to Derek on the phone. Like they delivered lines back and forth to each other on the phone. And he was like, yep, I hear it. Yep, I get it now.
There's a sound, their voices too.
It was like
it's uncanny.
It was like the same person hearing them over the phone speak to each other. They sound it was wild.
Was Thomas Hayden Church like a little bit taken back? Like, are you spoofing me? Is this some sort of catfish?
Yeah, he kind of thought it was a joke, and we were like, "This is not a voice. This is how he acts. This is what he sounds like."
That's so cool.
So yeah, the scene is about a minute long, but he was on the phone with us for like half an hour, just like giving us takes, talking to us, telling us stories, ad-libbing. It was just.
Do you have some of that footage?
Yeah, we recorded the entire thing like for the heck of it.
I just find I really do think that the more that we just, like you said, authentic self. Yeah. People can sniff out bullshit like that. I mean, you just can't. We're built that way. It's just the way it is. But the more authentic you are, people that are on these high pedestals, being in Hollywood, the Thomas Hayden churches of the world, Alexander Payne, they come down to earth real quick, and they're as soon as they see that, just put yourself out there. Yeah. Just do it, and then show your vulnerability. Yeah. I think that's another masculine trait. It's also feminine. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But what I'm saying is, speaking from that perspective, those are the fears that I go through in my life, where I'm like, can I put myself out there? Can I do? And if I show that vulnerability, am I going to get?
Well, yeah, and it's like we feel that vulnerability is an inherently female trait, and so
it's a strength. I think it's a strength.
No, it's a strength for everybody.
I think it's the biggest muscle you have. In my, I think it's if you can show who your true self, it's the strongest thing you have, in my opinion, because it's you're giving everything.
But you do, I wonder.
You have to protect it though.
You have to protect it, and you have to be careful.
You do.
Around, and I even if you're like a creative and you're wanting input from, say you're in a writer's group, you got to be really thoughtful about who that person is you're allowing to read your work.
That's a good point.
Give you notes, because
people will take advantage very quickly,
and that's a tough one to tease out.
Or they give you feedback from a negative place, like a place that's not great because of their own bias,
their own stuff,
and what they're dealing with, and their jealousies and their insecurities.
100%.
So you do have to learn how to filter like good feedback from bad feedback.
I think when I first started, you're right. I think it was one of those things where I started from a place of jealousy, and as I got older, I started realizing I want everybody's boat to rise. I want us all to. We got to go together. I don't. The more conversations that I've had with like-minded people like yourself, like Cody and Kevin Kabor. Yeah. Really talented filmmaker, and just some of the people that we've worked with, I've been overwhelmed by this area's talent and their ability to be able to articulate their visions. And I want to surround myself with more people like that. So that's why I started this. And that's why I wanted to, talk to you and how they say it. I'm just inspired by how you're able to do it. Now, obviously, when we talk budgets around here, you're not going to find a lot of large, independent budgets. No. But there's plenty of people around here that can do some big budget work that are talented enough and that can show up with some things. Now, working with, the crew that you had, how are you able to make that work?
Well, so for this particular project, everyone was kind enough to donate their time.
It's amazing.
So that's
another thing I love.
Yeah, I don't know what the number to put on it is, but like we were fortunate enough that the crew, no one on the crew got paid. Like, it pains me to say that. I don't like that nobody on the crew got paid.
Right.
But everybody volunteered their time. We had to pay, for some incidental stuff, obviously like craft services and fees for certain things.
Like did you have to get permits and things like that to film the city?
No, we didn't. So the Omaha is kind of like a don't ask, don't tell city when it comes to permitting.
Got it.
I've been on other film shoots before where they tried to get permits, like to film in the parks, and the parks department was like, just go do it. Don't.
But like,
just don't tell
anybody. Just don't
pretend like you never called, and like just don't tell anybody.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, we were having a conversation recently with somebody who recently filmed in LA, and he was like, LA is not that city.
Nope,
like they will shut you down instantly. But so no, we were able to get by with a very, very small budget. I mean, I've talked to Kate about it, and if we had to put like an actual dollar value on this production, it was probably like a $40,000 short.
Yeah.
By the time all was said and done.
100%. Yeah.
And so it's amazing. I try to give back to my crew and my friends whenever I can. If somebody from the crew asks me to do something and they say I can't pay you, it's like, great, that's no problem. I'll do it.
Although we're going to raise fund, we've got two features, and we are absolutely because you can only ask folks.
That's the thing. You can only you kind of only do it once.
Yeah.
It's
like
to respect other
100%.
artists and to pay them for their time.
Yeah. So this short, it's in festivals. It's after festivals, we'll try to find some kind of online distribution for it, whatever that may be.
Because like Prime, putting it out there in a situation like that, do you don't really have to pay them to put it out there, but like, do you get the 10 cents for every view or whatever? I mean, do you get a small amount per download?
Yeah, it's so how these companies pay is based on minutes watched.
Okay.
So it's probably like fractions of a cent for every minute.
Right.
So you don't make a lot of money, and like Prime used to take a lot of short films. I'm not sure Prime kind of scaled back on what they take.
Sure.
But there are other platforms, other things that distribute short films and get short films out to audiences. So we'll see where it ends up.
Well, I'm excited to see, what you guys come up with, for the next. Can you guys talk about the project you guys are?
Yeah. So we're working. Okay. So we, again, like there's a million, we talk about this, like when it comes to film, you just have to do everything all at once because you never know which thing's going to hit first.
Yeah, totally.
So we have two features that we're working on. One is like smaller budget. One is medium budget. So we want to get these features into like a pre-production state so we can start fundraising, so we can pay people, so we can generate income.
Write with the idea of what is filmable on a budget.
Small casts, small locations.
These are not set in outer
now
space.
you mentioned something about animation.
And that's the other thing that we're working on.
So
that one is in production.
That is in production.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we have so we're working on an animated web series.
I love it.
We're in production on the pilot right now.
With the idea that maybe we can pitch it or it'll do well on.
And how do you get? Now, obviously, I know with the art, you've drawn out a lot of the physical characters, right? You've drawn out a lot of you've done a lot of the anime, and then to get them animated, you work with. Are you animators?
No. So we were like, can we be animators? And then
you do a little bit.
I do a little bit of like timeline animation, in video, and I know After Effects graphics and stuff like that. But when it comes to actual character animation,
it's hard.
It's just like, this is tough. So we've sat on this project for years trying to figure out how we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
It started out as a comic strip, and maybe it's this, maybe it's a TV show, and now it's a web series. But so we ended up collaborating with Matt Geiler.
Okay. I don't know Matt.
Oh gosh.
Oh, he's
animator, actor, comedian, musician.
He does a lot of stuff at Backline.
He
does a lot of improv work. He's the guy he originally became pretty famous for his pumpkin dance. He's the guy years ago. So
the black suit with pumpkin.
He spent a lot of time in LA. So he is he's a true Renaissance man. And so we brought him in not to be the animator for this, but to be a true partner and collaborator, sort of like we were kind of tangentially talking about, like opening yourself up and being vulnerable and saying, here's what we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want your input.
Okay.
We want to hear what you would do, where you would do this. And
because we kind of like talked about it. It's just like, well, at this point we have like differing opinions and differing viewpoints, and we're really good about sharing feedback and coming to consensus. But at the end of the day, like we kind of operate as like one entity. And so it's like this project has lived between the two of us for so long that it needs an outside perspective. It needs another hand.
Okay, right.
And it's even
better now. It's better than we ever imagined.
He's coming at it from he's respecting the sensibilities that we have.
Yeah.
But he's like elevating it to a place that I don't think we thought we would go. And it's like he sends us little samples. I'm like, oh my, this is incredible.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
we're auditioning.
We have the pilot cast.
Yeah, but we've got some.
Yeah, so our pilot is cast. We'll have more roles to cast.
Down the road as we expand.
Yeah.
And I just want to say quickly, this is an example, though, I think, of where, you had this opportunity in LA, and not that you won't again, but it's like, okay, for writing it with a film, obviously you can do that anywhere, but TV, to be staffed, you got to be in LA.
Yeah.
So you were
the
kind
only
of
rooms
like,
that aren't in LA are late night rooms.
Sure,
and those are,
yeah. So you were kind of like, all right, we're here. Let's figure it out. What can we do from that perspective?
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
You know what I mean?
Selfishly, I was like, I need something. I need work. I need a work sample. I need to show that I can create multiple episodes of something, that I can produce, that I can collab, And so I'm pushing for it to be a web series.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want it. I want the proof. I want this. I want the series. I want the views. I want the.
She wants the smoke, folks. She wants the smoke.
I'm motivated.
I love it. Yeah.
But
that's impressive.
Yeah.
And I've had the same million ideas bouncing back and forth, and then they live. I've had so many feature ideas, and I've really gotten into documentaries, which I really love, which are the story kind of tells itself. You don't really have to write it. I mean, you have to have a certain amount of
sure. You have to still be a storyteller to put it together and recognize it.
But then the people itself that you're talking to really help you, and it changes over time, which is great because you learn more, and the more research you do, it changes with what you're doing. You've got this story, you've got this thing, you got to formulate it, and then when you like you said, you got to crew up, you got to stay consistent with all of them, and things can change here and there, but for the most part, you got to consistently, and that can be hard.
Yeah.
Because life gets in the way and certain things, and then to stay consistent and, like you said, keep that cohesiveness between from cast to crew to writers to producers, and it can be hard. But if you've got that, and you feel like you've got the content, you've got the crew, you've got the people, put it out there. And I think a web series, why not? Why not?
Yeah, it's still, it's, again, like Jeff was saying, I'm in Omaha. I want to write for television. Like my opportunities to get a foot in the door are limited based on geography. If I was in LA, there would be other opportunities, other things I could do. But it's like, I'm here, I'm here for now. I've got a teenage kid here, and
it's a great place to be.
Jobs here,
but
and so
what do you want to do?
And so it's like, how do I'm old enough to know that like Hollywood is not going to come looking for me. I have to go looking for Hollywood. But you have to you have to give it a reason to come find you.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
You can't just like sit at home being like, one day.
100%.
But
even if you're in LA, you got to go to the
you
rooms.
You got to go.
And I lived out there for 4 years, and I was working, behind the scenes. I was an actor for a little while, actually in a movie that Thomas Hayden Church was in.
What?
Spider-Man 3.
No way.
Yeah, I was in
Full
Spider-Man.
circle
He was Sandman.
He was.
It's a small role. I played a New York City cop. Isn't that weird?
So funny.
Wow.
It's funny.
Wow.
I met Tobey Maguire, but I didn't meet Tom. I wasn't in a scene with them.
Yeah.
But I was a New York City cop. Had a small line. It was so
it.
stupid.
Wow.
But anyway, isn't that weird how we're all?
That is so weird.
I love
But
it.
yes, I was in a Thomas Hayden Church film.
We're all. So was Jeff. Jeff was in the short. Yeah.
6 degrees of separation,
both,
brother.
There you go.
So
both
now
starred in
We're on our way.
films.
We are on our way. Take us. We're just writer Kotel. She's going to get us there.
That's right.
She's going to get us
That's
there.
right.
But it is fascinating. You, like you said, you got to have a reason for them to come to you, right? And you're doing that. I kind of like though now. I kind of like that I'm here and that because of the internet, because of social media, because of the work that we can do, and we can get our work out there. Like you said, a web series. Why not you? Why not you in Omaha?
Why
here?
not
Why
Omaha?
not? Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not Omaha? Why not? If it's good work, people will, they'll gravitate towards you. There's a lot of talent. I mean, Alexander Payne, yes, from here, he still, resides here some of the time, and now he's got a brand that he can, he can send a script and he'll get 1,000 people to read it. You send a script and you'll be lucky if it, lands on the right person's.
I'll be lucky if the email ever gets opened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, that obviously is different, but why not you? It can be.
Yeah.
And I think that you keep doing what you're doing. I mean, we barely know each other, but I'm proud of you. I think that's great, because I think there's so many people that don't do it.
Right.
Like myself.
Right. Well, and it's also a matter of I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me permission to tell stories. I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me permission to do what I want to do. So it's like
put that on repeat.
Yeah, if I don't get I don't get staffed, I don't get handed $1 million to make a movie. Well, okay, no big deal. We're gonna make our show. We're gonna make our movies. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out.
Figure it out. And you're doing this, by the way. And don't give you're really hard on yourself.
I am. I'm hard on myself, but I am realistic in the sense that I want it to, and I think every conversation that I've had, I've gotten better with it. But yeah, I'm my insecurities get the best of me sometimes, and I definitely am, and that's why, every time I do one of these, very nervous, and as I go, it gets better. But yes, I'm doing this for myself, but I do it because I really do want to give you guys your flowers, because I think you guys are doing amazing stuff and you guys are underrated. And I think a lot of people that I have, on, not that they're underrated in the world, they're underrated in the sense that you guys are doing some really big things.
People doing great things. You're the people you worked with on your crew could easily be working on any
crew.
But
the thing is that people who are out there doing the work, they're not talking about the work because they're doing the work.
They're doing it. I agree.
Too busy doing it to sit around and talk about it. So that's what I've noticed, that and I'm not throwing anybody out. I'm not throwing anybody the best name of names, but it's the people out there who are look at me, look what I'm doing. Me are typically the people who aren't actually they're not building community. They're not creating jobs. They're not creating work for people here who want it. They're putting on a front for attention. And it's it only gets you so far. People are going to see through it. So.
Yeah, that clickbait stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought what you said in your post recently about your baby's ugly was at first I'm like, okay, I got to see what this is all about, because I know you well enough, even though we hadn't really had a conversation. I knew you well enough that you weren't saying what exactly. It wasn't a literal. Yeah. Where did that come from? I mean, I kind of know because I watched part of it, but what was the impetus of that?
Oh gosh, where did it come from? I don't know. I think it just also came from that seeing people
kind of toot their own horn a little bit.
Tooting their own horn. And again, as an artist, you have to have ego. You have to toot your horn. Nobody's going to do it for you.
But come from a place of curiosity.
Wrapping their arms around you, I'll toot your horn.
No. Coming from a place of curiosity, though, can be
and so
valuable.
So if you make something and you're look how good it is, it's flawless. It's not. It's not flawless.
Yeah.
This short film, this Bobby Hayden Church, it is the greatest thing I have ever done. It's the greatest project I've ever worked on, the greatest outcome. But is it perfect? No. Is it the end of the line for me? No. No. I know it's good, but I know that there's room for improvement for all of us. We all want to go on to do bigger, better things.
If you come back in 10 years and make Bobby Hayden Church, again, be different, right? And wouldn't it be completely different?
100%.
Some better, but maybe not.
Yeah.
You might be cutting things out that
you might lose some of that energy.
Exactly.
That sometimes it's kind of weirdly helpful when you don't know things.
When you don't know
agree.
And
I think perfection is such a lie.
It is such a lie.
I mean, it's a word that we have to have, and I understand why it exists.
It's boring.
But perfection my favorite things in the world are the things that are just a little bit off.
Yeah. Perfection is unattainable, but the desire to get better every time
There you go.
is something that everybody has to have.
Yeah.
And so this idea of like your baby is ugly, it's just like what you did wasn't perfect, and you need to know it's not perfect in order to get better. If you only see perfection in your work never gets better, and that's the end of the line for you.
I think you have something there. I think you have a podcast you can build off that. I'm not kidding, or something. I think
Can I just like swap?
Yeah, exactly.
It's my podcast now.
No, please.
So I have to
Gosh.
change. Can I just stay here, please? I don't want to have to move.
Matt in the back of his mind's going, yeah, she'd be better than
We
you.
just
No.
change the graphics.
You are doing a great job.
I appreciate it, but that hit a chord for me because it is so you're so right that we can kind of get in this mode of feeling ourselves a little bit. We kind of feel like I'm finally there, or whatever, yeah, maybe you did something that you got better, but you got to keep building off building. There's more to attain, and I didn't finish. How did it end? Because I didn't actually watch the entire video, but if you can even remember, not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, just about like you need to be open to growth.
Yeah,
and you need to be confident in your work, but understand that collaborating and improving and being open and questioning and all these things are good, then you need them. And if you're sitting here, I was like, I'm not speaking to anyone specifically. I'm speaking to everyone. And if you think this doesn't apply to you, then like you need to go back and watch it again, because it applies to you. But yeah.
I've always said that if you want, to change somebody's opinion, you have to allow them to change their perspective, or their perspective has to change, because like you said, you go to France and you immerse yourself in this thing. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure your perspectives changed very quickly when you start immersing yourself into something. When you travel, when you eat different food, when you speak different languages, when you learn history, when you read, when you talk to the opposite sex, when you have conversations with LGBTQ community, when you put yourself in those places, you start to realize, man, we're all the same. We're all the same. We're our own imperfect mesh of beautiful craziness, chaos.
Yeah.
All those things are real. You have to embrace the difference. You have to embrace the idea of being uncomfortable too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think perfect lives, in all the
Yeah.
Love it.
One of the things, so like the first time I went to France, was with Jeff, and I remember like, I'm in France for the first time. This is incredible.
They have a lot of pride, national pride of their language. Yeah.
Like, what a beautiful place. This is so magical. And then it's just like, but then we go to the grocery store to like buy water and bananas or something. And the people in the grocery store are just like, like this line, like hustling you through the line, and they're mad because you didn't weigh your bananas before you got in line. You know what I mean? And then you realize like, oh, to me, this is magical, but to these people, it's just everyday life.
Yeah.
Like you said, at the end of the day, we're all just people living our lives.
Just people living our lives. And I think there's probably a sense of, these Americans are, all this stuff. And to some extent, that is true. We are so, I don't want to lump everybody into it, but we Americans do have a sense of like, we're not really aware of ourselves sometimes. We're not.
I'd say that's true.
That's maybe true for everybody, but I think some Americans, they go to places and they're not aware that they're kind of like.
Oh, they stick out, and those are the ones that people will say, "Oh, the French are rude." No, but there are those ugly Americans who act like this belongs to me. I'm in your country, but you're going to serve me.
Yeah, you should be thankful I'm here.
And it's like, no, you're not showing any respect at all.
To the and try the language. You don't have to get it right, but try.
Bonjour, you say hello, thank you, at least.
Get those things, hello and thank you, and then like, Anglais, or do you speak English? Like, can we speak English? If you ask the question, be curious, I think people are more receptive to it than if you automatically are like, can you come down to me, as opposed to let me try, to meet you somewhere and meeting them halfway.
Well, and that whole idea of saying hello anytime you walk into any shop in France, every single time you at least say bonjour, at least say hello. That has impacted me in Omaha and in the U.S. I may not do that if I'm walking into Hy-Vee and saying hello to all the cashiers because call security. But if it's a smaller shop, I try to say hello, thank you, goodbye.
Sure.
And most of the time people are like, what? But a few times you'll get a look like, oh, hi. Or goodbye.
You'll remind them that, man, we're all here doing this thing.
We're human beings. We're not robots.
Some people are here working. Some people are here. Yeah. Not yet. I know exactly.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a conversation to have for next time. For another time over coffee. Yeah.
I teach college writing courses, and I'm like, kids, please do not let the robots do your homework. Like, I'm just begging you. Please just write your own papers.
We could sit here all day talking about that, but as a professor, as somebody who teaches young people, is it just impossible?
It's really hard. And I teach like the course I'm teaching right now is autobiographical writing, and so it's like
you can't really AI that, right?
And that's what I tell them.
It's like you can't really AI this.
All I'm asking you is to write about your own personal experience. So if you ask the robot to write your
can you tell when you get an AI paper? Can you tell?
Yeah. So the first semester,
because they're all the same. Every paper is.
Well, the first semester I taught it, a couple slipped by until I learned what to look for.
Punctuation is perfect, right?
Yeah, it's like
because nobody people especially young writers don't get punctuation perfect.
No, even me, it's like I'm terrible. Like punctuation, it's awful.
Well, and depending on your writing style, you may sort of change your punctuation.
Fudge punctuation.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like, the first papers were all like honest attempts. And then the second papers, some of them were just like picture perfect. And I was like, okay, things aren't tracking here, guys.
So what do you do though? Like, how do you play? Because it could still be an original thought, but AI, all they did was round it out, or all AI did was, they could have done the research.
Yeah.
How do you, what do you do then? Like, is plagiarism dead because of that? Like, how does it work?
No, it's still considered plagiarism. Like on the university level, they still consider it plagiarism. It's kind of, to some degree, it's up to my own discretion, to discuss it with these students and just be like, look, I know you faked it. You know you faked it. Please just do me a favor and rewrite this so I don't have to get administration.
To get administration. Right, because I don't want to have to do this.
Administration doesn't want that. Nobody wants
that.
Do
they acknowledge it when you call them out? Do they?
Most of them do. Most of them are like, yeah, I panicked. But
some people
some of them are just like, no, I wrote that. It's like,
Did you?
Is there,
but when they say, yes, I wrote that, then I go back with a fine tooth comb and I point out all the things that are wrong with it. And it's like, okay, you wrote this. These are the things that are wrong with it.
Like,
I know you didn't.
Okay, I'll rewrite. And, so I wonder if there's a way, and I know we got to wrap it up here shortly, but just speaking on that, I wonder if there's a way that we can figure out a way to be able to still have AI be a tool, not a,
as a tool, it's totally fine.
As a tool, but if there's a way that we can somehow watermark some of the, you know what I mean?
Sure.
If there's a way to watermark, or if there's a way, obviously people can just take a picture of it and then just recopy it or whatever it is, but like that copy and paste, it's just so easy. If there's a way to not, but
aren't there some
so you can reverse it where you can dump it back into AI
and then to see if
and it'll say like, oh no, these things don't read like AI wrote them. I don't know, the best tool I have at my disposal is like my brain, my experience, my knowledge, and it all
humans are still more powerful.
Yeah, and it all comes back to warmth. You can tell when something is not a real lived experience.
Yep.
You can just tell.
Yep.
And that's not something
that AI can do.
A machine can. Yeah.
Someday it will, though. Someday it will. Someday it will be so good that I know. Isn't it crazy?
Creepy.
It's kind of scary.
It's a little scary.
Yeah. And the film, and then even in your guys' work with copyright and
it's already happening with cartoons.
It already is. I was going to say, with what you guys do, the last thing that would be my last question would be like, how do we with what you're doing. Even with what I do, it's different for me though, because a lot of the work that I do is, obviously conversational here, but then how I pay my bills is I, do marketing work and stuff like that for companies that hire me to do stuff. It's really hard to kind of AI that, because I still need to get in front of people and get their testimonials and get their sound bites, things like that. You can do it, but it's different. But like when you're making films, you've got creative ideas, you've got a script. When you're cartoons, I mean, how do you combat the machine from like either, stealing your IP, your own work, having that, and then, it being sort of bastardized, if you will, if that's the right word. I mean, having your work not be stolen or rewritten or spun. Do you find that? I mean, some of these engines are unbelievable, especially with animation.
They are. I mean, for me, with a couple things with the editorial cartoons, I'm not saying that at some point AI won't completely figure this out, but I allow for those imperfections. Wabi sabi, the term my son taught me, the Japanese term, embracing that imperfection. I allow, even though I am drawing digitally now, I allow for those human elements, the imperfections. I don't want things to be perfect.
Yes.
And I'm leaning into that even more. And I find myself doing that on the radio at KVNO. I am a human being presenting this classical music, telling human stories about composers who overcame obstacles and to create in spite of those obstacles. And if I stumble on my words, I allow it's a live show, and I remind people, I'm not a robot. I'm a human being who lives in your community, who's presenting this uplifting experience. So I lean into my humanity. And that's the only way, at this point,
to differentiate.
That's all I got.
Our imperfections are actually the things that we're trying to be is perfect, but our imperfections are that's our fingerprint. Yeah. That's going to be the thing that's going to differentiate us between the machines and is our little, and embracing that imperfect. That's a really good point. I've never really thought of it.
I never did either, actually.
That's
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I just I don't know. I guess
any fears or apprehensions to?
I mean, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about what the future of the industry is going to look like. If somebody, if it comes down to like, you can just turn on your TV and type in, I want to watch a rom-com starring Julia Roberts set in the 1980s.
That never existed.
That didn't, and then AI is just like, boom, here's your movie that I made in 5 seconds. Like, what does that mean for the rest of us?
But how long does that last? Because it takes AI is feeding upon humanity. And I know that when I've talked to some literary agents recently about a graphic novel thing that I may be working on, but this agent was saying that it's more than ever, readers want to know who the author is behind it, that the author's story is, even if you're not doing something autobiographical, the author is part of the project. And I think that's true in film. Yeah. Who the filmmaker is a big part of it.
I think at the end of the day, people want to see art created by other people. And I just kind of have to believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that right now. I guess it's my daughter. It's my daughter. I'm a little worried. Like,
understandable.
Is she going to even have human teachers by the time she gets to high school? Yeah. Like, is she just going to be learning on an iPad from some sort of a standard set of, and who is the one feeding that prompt? And so I know that seems so dystopian and so,
but it's like, it's not.
But you could literally today probably have AI teachers. You probably could. You could have ChatGPT probably teach third grade.
Well, it's being used.
Yeah, it's being used already.
Language learning, for example, all the time. But
yeah. And so that is my thing. But then what you lose then is a human experience of, all those things. And that's where I think you learn the most, is actually not learning the actual arithmetic, not learning the actual language, not learning the actual thing. Yes, you're learning those things, but learning how you get to that problem through human interaction.
And how you learned a particular, just to go back to French briefly, like I remember when I learned a particular word and where I was. For example, quickly, guerre and gare sound alike. Guerre in French is war, gare is station. And I was in Paris and I was asking, où est la guerre? And I meant, where's the station? And I was asking people where the war was, and someone corrected me, and I will never forget. It is in my DNA now.
Where you were when you learned it.
When I learned that, but
but that is.
I was asking a robot at the time, so maybe that doesn't help my argument.
But it is. That's a really good point. That
don't ask somebody where the war is when you're in Paris. That is the worst thing you could possibly. That's worse than not saying bonjour.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I won't. I'll make sure not to do that. Where's the war? Yeah, no. But I mean, because they actually had to live through something very serious. It's a good point though, because you do put yourself the human experience that you have because we could have had this conversation on the computer. The three of us.
Of course,
you could have been on your desktop, I could have been on mine. We could have had this, and it would have still been probably as insightful, and it would have been, but it is different when you actually are, feel the person and, see them drink the water and have the
fist bump we did.
The fist bump, you can't do that, but those things, when you're actually in the room with somebody, when you're behind the screen, sometimes people say and act and do things differently.
Oh, true.
When you're in the room, if I say something, I could get punched. Christine might punch me. You know what I mean? You can't get, but
she might punch me. I don't know.
But if she'll punch you for something I said. This is turned into something very different. Very different. This is for my after dark version. But I do think that is where I want my daughter to be able to learn, and I don't want to keep bringing up, me. I already kind of know who I am. I'm grown. My mind is kind of made up on certain. I understand. I've lived before cell phones. Whoops. Anyway, cut that. See, you can't do that.
No, I say keep it in. That's real. That's awesome.
Matt, we're keeping this.
That is awesome.
So anyway, my water, luckily it wasn't like completely full.
I expected it was in slow motion. I was expecting glass.
And luckily,
let's see if this
did it all over. No. Throw yours. Now everybody throw your glasses. But the thing about it is being with, having conversations with people is so much more valuable, and we need to, and that's another reason why I wanted to do this, was because it's so easy for me to just write you guys a message on Instagram or on Facebook and say, oh, hey, how did you make this film? Or how did you, I sit you in a room, sit you down, have that conversation, and then share it. Share those insights with people, because I want people to be able to feel like it's not unattainable. Because, from where I was sitting watching you do what you do, I was like, how did she do this? Well, ask her.
Yeah.
But do it in person and see if she'd be willing to, share it with other people. And same with you, Jeff. I mean, you were just the, icing on the cake. I mean, she was who I wanted to talk to. But
she makes really good cake. It's gluten free.
But when I had someone cancel, I was like, "Can you get Jeff?
Yeah,
I need no. But I do.
That was an afterthought. It's okay.
not at all. Actually,
no.
I kind of thought I was going to have you. I did want to have you on a separate. No, it's real. I wanted to have it on a separate thing, but it's actually kind of nice because you guys are actually working. I didn't know this before.
We just met about an hour ago. I don't.
It's all fake.
I didn't want to bring it up, but you guys are a couple, so I mean, but I didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable if I had him come on and be like, oh, you just wanted me for him, and no.
Just using me to get to Jeff.
I know, right? Now this really has become kind of a dark twist on this on the show, but. I appreciate you guys coming on. I wish we could sit here all day and have more conversation, because I do have more questions, but I'll save that for another time because I have a feeling, we'll be doing this maybe at a coffee shop next time if I can get.
We're actually going to sponsor me. We're going to do Christine's new podcast in about 2 minutes. So if you guys will just switch places, and then I'll have mine.
And we are exactly. And then
we'll just do
a revolving
the next 12 hours.
Situation. That would be fantastic. If we could, wouldn't that be? Yeah.
The table turns.
The table turns.
Or we sit here.
Or we just swap. Or we just switch the cameras go this way, and so it looks like it's a different place.
That's right.
But yeah, I do have to give a
Thank
little
you.
bit of love real quick to Barnado and
This
Jake.
is cool.
Beautiful space.
So Jacob runs the place. So Maven Social is you're probably familiar with like Via Farina, right? They have one downtown. They've got the one in Regency.
Regency, yep.
They're pizza, pasta, like a really diverse menu. They're great, and then they've also got a Berry and Rye down in the Old Market.
Yep.
Probably familiar with them. And then they've got Alice, which is out west.
Alice is cool.
It's a really cool,
cool.
And then they have the Wicked Rabbit, which I thought I think it might be Omaha's first speakeasy, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
But really kind of a cool, kind of carved out in this small little area at the Hotel Deco, which is a really cool space with a looking glass. But Maven Social is a very inclusive company. They've all shapes and sizes work for them. People from all over town here, and I find them to be just a really kind of a fun company to work with and to work for. And I have the opportunity to do some of their content. But Barnado specifically is a cool, unique. It's a music space, but it's also a bar. But then we're sitting in their speakeasy at the moment, and Jacob runs the place. And he normally would be on the show with us, but he wasn't able to make it. But I want to say thank you, Jacob, for letting us use the space. Really appreciate you, opening your doors, unlocking the doors, and letting us come in and show off your space. But basically, they opened this up for different music venues, and in the fronts of the music venue, the stage, and the main bar, and then back here is the speakeasy where they'll have private events. They'll have a poker night. They set up like a big poker table or like a roulette table, and they'll have like a casino night in here sometimes and things like that. They've sponsored all kinds of cool charity events and private events and wedding receptions and you name it. But I have to give a little love out. So if you haven't been to Barnado, check them out. They're a really, really cool company. All kinds of, you'll see on their website that they've got all kinds of really cool artists. They do comedy shows here too. So
cool.
I don't know if you do stand up or you know some people that do stand
We
up.
know
I'm sure,
people,
yeah. So get them. But yeah. So I wanted to give a little love to them, and I appreciate you guys coming on. And before we go, where can we find you? Where can we find like your work and how can we follow you? And give us a little call to action.
So our production company that we produce under together is called Crispy Pickle Films.
Oh, what?
You can look us
That's
up
a good
online.
one. Who's the pickle?
After the cameras turn off, we'll talk about it.
We are the collective Crispy Pickle.
Okay, you're both crispy. You're both a pickle.
We're
Got
both
it.
crispy. We're both pickle.
I was gonna say she's definitely crispy. Christine, Chris.
Oh, no,
right?
I
I'm
see.
thinking the play on the
I
words,
see. I got you,
but she's all she's
where
kind of
you're
got
going.
that. Maybe I don't know.
I got you.
Maybe no. Okay, that's not what that is though.
No.
Okay, Crispy Pickle
it's just
Productions.
Yep. So crispypicklefilms.com. I'm on Instagram, Christine Burright.
Yeah, I'm on Insta as Jeff, I think, Jeff Koterba, and then jeffreykoterba.com is my... I've got Patreon and Substack.
Yeah, I was going to say,
tell us. You can find me on either platform under my name.
Yeah, get to Patreon, get to Substack, support local artists.
Yes,
Pay
absolutely,
local artists too.
absolutely.
It's important. It
Yeah.
is. So
Exactly.
I appreciate you guys coming
thanks so
on.
much.
It
Thank you so
really
much.
means a lot.
Really great.
Learned a lot. Tons of fun. We'll have you next time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very, very much, man.
Appreciate you
Great.
guys.
Yeah, you're great.
It was awesome meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you.